Today we're going to take a look at some super valuable stamps from America, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. We'll show you what to look out for, and we'll discuss why they are so valuable. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this run through of some of the most expensive stamps from the USA. Up first, we have the Shield, Eagle and Flags stamp of 1869. This stamp was a part of a collection of 10 stamps issued that had a face value of between 1 and 90 cents. It was also the first series of stamps to feature something other than the national leader portraits, and it marked the first use of bicolor printing. However, due to the confusing arrangement of the colors, it made the stamps appear to be poorly designed, and as a result, it was heavily criticized at the time. Printing these stamps in 2 colors required double pressing, the first to print the center design, the second to print the frame. Historically, this has always caused problems and has often led to inverts appearing on the stamps. And that's what happened in this case. Some of the 30-cent issues became inverted during the printing process, and as a result, the stamps with the inverted flags are considered to be the rarest of this 1869 issue. An unused example of this stamp with inverted flags could be worth $210,000, with a used example fetching around $65,000. However, in 2016, an unused 30-cent value sold at auction for a whopping $310,000. So remember, the value derives not from the fact that it was the first stamp to be printed using a new technique, but because of the invert error that happened during the printing process. Okay, up next we have the Hawaiian Missionary stamp from 1851. Maybe a little controversial choice, as when this stamp was issued, Hawaii was its own independent kingdom, a sovereign state and not part of the USA. But as it's now a US state, it goes in this list. In 1849, mail between Hawaii and San Francisco had increased greatly, partly as a side effect of the Californian gold rush. The island was also a popular destination for American missionaries spreading the gospel. So in 1849, a post office was established in Honolulu, and Henry Whitney became the first postmaster. In 1851, he was ordered to print stamps in 3 denominations: the 2-cent, 5-cent, and 13-cent values, which he did using the printing press of the Polynesian, which was a weekly government newspaper at the time. The design was really simple. As you can see, the denomination is in the center and repeated in words at the bottom, all framed within a standard printer's ornament. The top line read Hawaiian postage for the 2 and 5-cent values, and for the 13-cent value it read HI and US postage. And finally, we have 2 lines which frame the whole of the stamp. The stamps were printed on pelure paper, which is an extremely thin tissue-like paper, so it will come as no surprise that most of them were easily damaged. Right then, of all the values issued, only about 200 have survived, of which 28 are unused and 32 are on covers. The 2-cent stamp is the rarest of the Hawaiian missionaries, with 15 copies recorded and only one of those is unused. This unused 2-cent stamp has an estimated value of $650,000. Even if you have a used version, they're worth in the region of $250,000. In 1965, Life magazine said this stamp was pound for pound the most valuable substance on earth. Moving on now to the 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp of 1868. The Benjamin Franklin Z Grill, or just Z Grill as it's known, is a 1-cent postage stamp that was issued by the US Postal Service in February 1868. Now, while stamps of this design were common, the Z Grill variety is extremely rare. Alright, in case you were wondering what a stamp grill is, it's a pyramid-like pattern pressed onto the stamps to break the fibres. This allowed postmark ink to better soak into the paper. The Z Grill is unique as its grill pattern differs from other grilled stamps. The ridge pattern of most grills run vertically, whereas the pattern of the Z Grill runs horizontally. There are currently only 2 known copies of this stamp with the Z Grill pattern, and both stamps have cancellation marks. One of these stamps is owned and permanently locked into the New York Public Library's Miller collection. The other was owned by Zachary Sundman, the son of Donald Sundman, who is president of the Mystic Stamp Company. It was bought in 1998 for an amazing $935,000. In 2005, it was traded for a block of 4 inverted Jenny stamps to financier Bill Gross, and by completing this deal, Bill Gross became the owner of the only complete collection of 19th century stamps. And finally, we come to everyone's favourite and probably the most famous invert stamp in the world, the inverted Jenny. A 24-cent stamp first issued on May the 10th, 1918, featuring the inverted image of the Curtiss JN-4 airplane in the centre of the stamp. The airplane was built by the Curtiss Aeroplane and Motor Company in the middle of World War I, and 95% of US pilots trained in the JN-4s during World War I. The US Post Office made a number of experimental trials of carrying mail by air in the 1910s. But on May the 15th, 1918, a regular airmail service between Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York began. The day before this, though, on May the 14th, a sheet of 100 inverted Jennies was bought by a collector, William T. Roby, who had specifically been looking out for potential errors in the new stamps that were issued. The postal clerk who sold the sheet said he didn't realise the image was an error because he'd never seen an aeroplane before. Anyway, Roby had to shift these stamps pretty quick and sold them to a dealer for $15,000. And so, over the years, this sheet of stamps has been broken up so that mainly single examples of this stamp exist, although there are a couple of blocks of 4 that do remain. Most of the stamps are accounted for. They're either in private collections or museums. There are, however, some that haven't been seen since the 1950s. So how much did one of these inverted Jennies sell for? Well, in 2016, one of the finest examples of these stamps was sold at auction for an incredible $1.35 million. Wow. A huge sum of money for a small piece of paper. And that wraps up this look at some of the most valuable stamps from the USA. If any of you have one of these stamps or a spare one that you'd like to swap for a common Machin that I've got loads of, then do get in touch. Well, I hope you've enjoyed looking at these examples. Thank you as ever for your support. If you like this video, then please do subscribe to the channel. Here are a few other videos that I've done that I'm sure you will enjoy, so please check them out. Thanks for watching if you have, and until the next one, bye for now.